If you've ever had any questions about Kibbe body types, essences, face types, color seasons, then you're probably going to find the answer in this video. My name's Ellie-Jean, I'm a personal stylist, and on this channel we use body types to discuss leveling up our personal style and ending the war with our wardrobes. In this video I'm going to be responding to some of your questions about Kibbe. I'm in Crete, in Greece, hence the very Serena van der Woodson vibe that's going on here. First question is, are there colour seasons that are linked to Kibbe types? Not exactly, but Kibbe does have some recommendations for different Kibbe body types. For example, if you were a romantic body type, you tend to look good in more lush or pastel, light, delicate colours to honour your soft, delicate body type, basically. This obviously isn't always the case. Your colour season is kind of more important when choosing colours. So for example, if you're not a soft summer, but you're a romantic, you are better off not going for softer, lighter colours. For example, if you're a spring, you're definitely going to want to lean on that more, but you might just choose the softer, lighter colours that are available in your palette, if that makes sense. So it's just kind of basically reducing what you choose down and down and down until they're the perfect ones for you. Would Lisa Bonet be ethereal? Yes, absolutely. She has a very elongated face shape. She has softness to her face. For example, her eyes are quite soft. She also has this look as if she's kind of drifting away rather than coming at you like you often get in dramatics. So instead of looking harsh, she's much more soft and delicate, but she has this kind of ageless, wise kind of appearance. I feel the most comfortable in alt styles. What am I? None of these resonate with me. This is a really good question because alt styles, and there is no like alternative face type, because what alternative and edgy is it's a subversion of what you are. So any of the face types can create this edgy alternative aesthetic literally just by fighting with your features. So for example, if you're dramatic, it's harder for you to create an edgy alternative appearance, but someone who does this very well is Taylor Momsen, who is a dramatic, and you can see how literally just by conflicting with her features, by dressing in lots of lace, which is of course something that looks really elegant and chic on a romantic, wearing lots of lace, tight-fitting clothing with waist emphasis, rounded necklines, this makes her look super edgy. Again, short lines, all of this looks really edgy on her where it would look very delicate and feminine on a romantic. So literally just fighting with your face type and your essence, or even your body type, is going to create an alternative image. So that's why there is no alternative face type. What if you don't have a face? I don't even know how to respond to that. We all have some kind of face. What would Britney Spears be ranked as? Britney Spears is not Kibbe verified, but generally people seem to think that she's a soft natural. Are you so shallow that you can't make content from an inward point of view, or is there nothing on the inside? This is a really interesting question. I think as women there is this really big idea that if you talk about looks, if you think about looks, if you think about fashion, that you're instantly shallow. And obviously my pages are dedicated to talking about looks, to talking about how looks can change the effect you create, because I think this is something that's very interesting. Not that I need to justify that, but I'm actually studying for a degree at one of the best universities in the world. I volunteer for nature charities. I've got various interests, and this just happens to be one of them that the internet also likes talking about. The fashion industry is worth billions and billions of dollars, pounds. It's incredibly valuable, and thinking about fashion is a very smart thing to do. Thinking about looks play an enormous part in the world, and so I don't think it's shallow at all to talk about them and to analyze how they play a part in the world that we live in. How tall are you? I'm 5'2", and I think that I'm a soft classic. I would love to go and meet Kibbe one day. I have my suspicions of a couple of other types, but I'm pretty solid in accepting myself as a soft classic. I'm 5'2", but I don't look particularly short if you look at me chest on in a picture kind of thing. I've got very long limbs. I've got various elements that make me a classic, which I go into a little bit more in my video about how I'm a soft classic and why you might be too. Can you be 3 essences at once? Yes, I think 3 is actually the maximum. I don't know what Kitchener says about this. I think Kitchener would probably say that you have 1 dominant essence, and that's what I kind of do in my consultations. Say this is your dominant essence, and if I notice other ones I might say your secondary essences include this. There's lots of debate in my comment section about what essence I have. I have elements of ethereal, elements of classic, and elements of ingenue, but some people also say I have elements of natural, but I think that's a photograph thing. I think if you met me in real life you just wouldn't say that. Anytime I wear natural styles it just does not work. Like right now it looks kind of cool on a camera, but I look a mess. But even though this is a very natural sort of look, I look like I've been to the beach. I don't look like I could turn up at a 5-star restaurant. Do you think Lady Di is ethereal? I think you said she's flamboyant natural. Yes, Lady Diana is a verified Princess Diana, sounds much better. Princess Diana is a flamboyant natural, and I think she has elements of ingenue essence. She has very cute, innocent, sweet facial features, but she's also quite mature looking. I can see why you might say ethereal, but I think she's too solid for that. I think she's more of a combination of natural and ingenue. What if I have a romantic phase and natural body type? I would love to make a video about how to combine different essences with different body types. Basically, the main rule that I always say with if you have a different face type to your body type is body type guides the shapes, face type guides some details. So your body type is ultimately more important. Essence can just influence things like your hairstyle or your makeup. Basically anything near your face is more important when we're looking at essence, but it might be if you have a sweet face but you have a natural body type, you can get away with a few more floral, delicate details than you would be able to otherwise. Are there types like this for men? Yes, absolutely. Men also have different body types. They also have different face types. Kibbe has verified a few men in terms of body types, but a very yang example is Benedict Cumberbatch. He's a dramatic and he has very dramatic facial features. A very yin example is Leonardo DiCaprio, who is little, rounded, soft and delicate. You can see the difference very clearly, and in fact I think looking at male body types and male face types sometimes makes it easier to understand Kibbe's specifications for female body types, especially when he says things like it's actually got nothing to do like with your cup size or like how big your hips are. I think when we look at male body types in comparison, it can kind of help us to understand what exactly he means. What's the difference between ingenue and gamine? It's very hard to do this briefly, but ingenue is basically a more delicate version of a gamine face type. So gamines look a little bit more boyish. That's the terminology generally used, although I do prefer to stay away from gendered language when we're looking at face types. But if you look at, say, Audrey Tautou, she looks a little bit more funky, a little bit more mischievous. Same with Mindy Kaling. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. She looks a little bit more mischievous and cheeky, whereas ingenue is very much a sweet and innocent look. So that's the difference. And this can manifest with gamine faces having some more sharpness to them. So they might have a slightly sharper jawline, they might have slightly higher foreheads or slightly sharper eyebrows, slightly higher cheekbones, but it won't be all of those things. It'll just be like a couple of details which just makes them look a little bit sharper than an ingenue. Does anyone look good in frumpy items? Lol. I think the interesting thing about this is Kibbe body types and essences only takes you so far. I think that is to be used in conjunction with other sort of style, not rules, but other style advice. For example, Kibbe body types can only take you so far, and having a matching pair of handbag and shoes is always going to look elegant and timeless, and it's always going to make you look more put together, and that's got nothing to do with your body type. That's just simple art kind of rules. Same with things like the rule of thirds. I think that tends to apply no matter what body type you have. It doesn't necessarily answer your question about being frumpy, but I think that some items tend to look more cheap and your body type isn't necessary, but they will look better on some people than others, and they'll look more harmonious with some people than others. Is it possible to be a romantic with smallish boobs? Yes. Kibbe says it's basically got nothing to do with your cup size, although I definitely think that there's an element of that. Yes, I think so. I don't think Christina Ricci has particularly full chest as an example. There are probably a couple of others. I mean, Selena Gomez, no, she does. I will have a look and I'll try and find some romantic examples that aren't enormous chest wise, because it's not really about that. It's more about your overall softness. Do you look soft, little, delicate and lush basically, and that can play a part in it, but I think it's more of a, I don't think it's like a reason that you have softness. I think it's more of a consequence of your softness, if that makes sense. I think it's more about your bone structure, about whether you're led by your bones or not. Are gamines just short girls? No, definitely not. Gamines is a specific type of short girl. In fact, if you're under 5'5", you can be any of the Kibbe body types. Gamine is more about having really delicate bone structure. So you do have to be under 5'5", but you also have to have short limbs. You have to be little, and those limbs have to not just be short, but also like delicate and narrow. Remember as well, Kibbe body types has nothing to do with how thin or fat you are. So when we're talking narrowness, we're literally talking about the bones. As a gamine, you're not a romantic either, so you have some elements of your bone structure which is slightly stronger. So you might have like slightly more angular shoulders, for example, like Halle Berry, she's a great example, but ultimately you look like a small pixie. And I think gamine is actually the easiest of the Kibbe body types that we instantly get. I know it's the first one that I was like, oh yeah, I know some gamines in my life, one of which is my best friend. She just looks like a little pixie. So I think it's the one that most of us understand quickest. And I think Audrey Hepburn as well is such an icon that we kind of get it. So no, it's not just being short, it's a specific type. If you're enjoying this video, you should definitely check out my playlist on celebrity body types, where you can get more of an in-depth guide on each of the celebrities that I'm interested in. And make sure to check out my consultations, the link is in my description. I can tell you your body type, essence, and even create a style file specifically for you and your taste. I hope you found this interesting. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time.